How's your environment, both physically and mentally? Why is your environment important in everything that you do? Whether it's your personal life, your business life, whether you're an athlete, a business owner, your environment is crucial to your success and or your failures. This topic is a very personal topic for me because I've been in different environments where if I didn't have the mental strength to either change my environment or leave my environment, my life would have went a different route. And there are times in our lives that we make certain decisions that changes the course of our life. Does that make sense? So, welcome to the Paul Cruz Show. The topic we're going to talk about today, I hope gets you thinking every day about your surroundings, whether it's people, whether it's the environment, whether more importantly, your mental environment. So, why your environment matters. Before we dig into the topic, if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. If you like it, share your comments and also share it with others. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, the environment was not always good. It's not as bad as it is right now, but at that point was bad. Things were changing for the worse. People were getting more corrupt, more violent, more drugs. And there was a point in my life where if I didn't make the decision to literally leave on Super Bowl Sunday, halftime, to leave to Florida, my life would have went a different route. And the purpose and the reason for that is the environment was getting worse. The way of thinking in that environment was getting worse. It was decaying. So I had the willpower and the mindset that I needed to get away from my environment because I knew I couldn't change the environment. So I had to go and create a new environment. Does that make sense? And so that was a critical decision in my life. Because when I left, a lot of prosperity started taking place. My mindset started changing for the better. My attitude was changing for the better. I still had issues. I still had problems. I still had to deal with things. But I know that leaving that environment was very critical. Now, where am I going with this? It also led me mentally when I was in an environment, in a sales environment, like a stockbroker doing cold calls and in a company that I found out as I was there that they were doing the wrong thing. That was a different environment. I learned a lot while I was in that environment. As I started to understand what the environment was about, it was conflicting with who I was and what my character and what my beliefs were. So I had to make a choice. Either stay in that environment and make millions of dollars knowing that it wasn't right, or leave the environment. So I couldn't change the environment, but I could leave the environment. Does that make sense? That was another decision factor in my life that led me to more prosperity and better part of my life. So you need to really think about this. Now, environment is important, or your environment starts in the mind. Because as I mentioned before, your actions are tied to your thoughts. And when you take action, there's always consequences. Good, bad, or different, right? But it all starts in the same place, the mind. So if your mind has a clean environment, and what I mean by clean, it thinks right, It thinks logically. It doesn't react emotionally. It always searches for the truth, receives the truth, doesn't allow garbage in, tries to fight the wrong thoughts. That's the mental environment. Now, that's important because that will lead to the physical environment. And I'm going to give you an example. Whether you're working for a company, you're a salesperson, you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, a husband, a wife, it doesn't matter. It still applies. It all starts with the mental environment. So I always look at it this way, and I take actions this way because I think this way. No matter what company I work for or who I do work for as a consultant or as a salesperson or an entrepreneur, I'm always looking to make things better, to solve problems, to be valuable to others. And recently, I've been working for a company since July, doing some work for them. And I believe that I had an impact, or I do have an impact, in changing the environment. People are nice people, they're good people. Certain things needed to be changed to give it a better environment. And so I took it upon myself to try to make things better for everyone. Because that's what leadership does. That's what leaders do. They serve people. That's the environment in my mind, is to give and help and try to make things better. Look at the cause, solve the cause to create a better environment. So no matter if you work for a company or you have your own company, it's important that you create the right environment for people to grow. If you're a salesman, keep the right mentality, because as a salesman, when you know what you know and you're good at it, it could be a powerful tool for the wrong things. But it could be an amazing tool for the right things. So it's important that you check your environment. First of all, check it mentally, physically, and then look at the environment you're around. And if the environment is not right, then you need to make a choice. You can either try to change the environment if you think you could, but if you know you can't, then it's your duty, your responsibility to leave and let the chips fall where they may. Because if you understand your environment and you make the necessary changes, as a salesman, your sales will grow exponentially. But more importantly, you will develop and build the right relationships, because your mental environment is right, which allows your physical environment to be prosperous. And I'm going to give you an example. There's a difference between having a home and having a house. The house to me is the exterior part, the look of it. The environment is internal. When you walk in someone's door, that you feel comfortable, you feel a good environment, you feel a good vibe, you feel good being there, you feel welcome, because the people that own the house created that environment by who they are. Does that make sense? You can also walk in a business office, someone's home, and you can feel the bad vibe. It doesn't feel right, right? That's the environment. And when you don't feel good in that environment, you don't want to stay there. You want to leave. But if it's a good environment, you don't want to leave because you like being there, right? But that's all because of the environment of the people's mindset. And sales is no different, because sales to me selling is a mindset, and closing is an attitude. The mindset builds and develops the right attitude, the right environment. Here's another example. I've been in businesses where, in Las Vegas, I worked in the call center. I was an affiliate. I was building my own sales team. And the owners had a certain way of working and doing things for many years. So I couldn't go in there and just change what they were doing. When I started finding out the things that I didn't agree with that were wrong, I refused to compromise. So I changed my little environment that I had with my team. But it came to the point where I had to leave because that environment will wear you down. And you could have 100 great people in an environment. You got 10 bad people out of the 100, they're going to infiltrate and create a bad environment. That's just the way it is. So you have to be aware and think about consciously, how is my environment? When people are around you, how is your environment around them? Because whether we like it or not, everything is an environment. And people create that environment by who they associate with, who they deal with, who they have as friends, as associates, as business partners, as customers, as family members. That's all an environment. Right? Does that make sense? So, we all go through these challenges. And one of the things I've learned to do is try to keep things simple. And the way you keep things simple, in my view, in my opinion, is you ask yourself very simple yet powerful questions. And two powerful questions that I use a lot is why and how. Well, why is this environment like that? When you figure it out, how do I change it or how do I leave? So for me personally, when I'm in an environment like that, I like taking the challenge first to try to change and improve the environment. And that's what sales is. Sales is about, problem solving, looking at a problem, having understanding, knowledge, and wisdom to try to fix it or change it. And if you try and you give it everything you have and you can't, then it's time to leave. So if your sales are struggling or you're struggling with sales with this pandemic or what's going on right now, you need to ask yourself, what environment can I create to make it better? And if your business is struggling, what do I need to do? What is the cause? What environment can I create to make the changes that I need to make? Does that make sense? So it's a very important thing that you understand, that your environment affects who you are and what you become. So don't allow environment to dictate who you are, but you change the environment and use it to your advantage because you can create the environment that's right if you choose to do that. And one last thing before we go, one of the things about social media and having, websites and, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all these things, a lot of people can hide behind the BS. They could front really good. It could look really good. That environment looks great. But when you start to peel the onion, you see that look is wrong. Behind it, there's no substance. It's a bad environment. Look at the politics that's going on right now. Look at people's character right now. They just, get violent. That's another story. I know why that's happening. But at the end is the environment on social media. If you're not careful, could be very destructive. Because people's mental environment is corrupt, is selfish. It's all about themselves. It's about taking. So be careful with that. For me, I use social media as a tool. I know why I'm doing it. I know how to do it. I don't get caught up into having all these followers and subscribers. And I utilize what I have and I create my environment that's successful, that's fundamentally strong, and that's a good environment, a healthy environment for whoever I'm involved with. So you need to really think about that. So before we go, I hope this has been helpful. I hope it gives you something to really think about and really ask yourself that question. How's my environment? And why does it matter? Because it does. So again, before we leave, if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. If you like it, give a thumbs up, and also share it with others. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. This is Paul Cruz with the Paul Cruz Show. And remember this: your environment matters. Have a very successful day. Bye for now.